Hi everyone, welcome into the channel today. Today we're going to be taking a look at something really interesting. I'm super excited to do this review. This is the Quadcast from HyperX. This is a super powerful microphone, yet affordable for the average person who wants to produce amazing podcasts or do live game streaming. So what makes this microphone the best one that money can buy on the market? Stay tuned to find out. The reason why we're reviewing the Quadcast microphone from HyperX today is because I was in the market for looking for a high quality microphone that could record audio for both my YouTube channel and my husband's YouTube channel. So over the past few weeks, I was doing a lot of research online and trying to figure out exactly what microphone for the money, that is, would get me the most bang for my buck. After doing some research on 5 different microphones, I chose the HyperX Quadcast for a number of reasons. Before I dive into those reasons, I want to talk to you a little bit about what it means to have polar patterns and what polar patterns are when it comes to recording audio. Polar patterns are how many different ways a microphone can record audio. For example, can it record audio from one direction or multiple directions at the same time? The nice thing about the HyperX Quadcast microphone is not only the price, but it's also the number of polar patterns it can record. So to dive in here a little bit, let me explain what the 4 main polar patterns are and what they do. The first polar pattern we have is called cardioid. Cardioid means that you can record in front of the microphone. So this is perfect for voiceover sessions or if you're doing gaming, like streaming for instance. So that would mean if I'm sitting right in front of the microphone that my voice would be recorded very well and a very high quality. The next type of polar pattern I want to talk about is called bidirectional. Now the bidirectional polar pattern means, yeah, you guessed it, you can record from one side of the mic and also on the other side of the mic. This is handy for situations where you're having an in-person conversation. Say I'm sitting here and there's a person behind the camera and we're trying to pick up clear, distinct audio from both sides of the conversation. The third polar pattern that I want to talk about is called omnidirectional. Now, what does omnidirectional mean? Omnidirectional means that the microphone in the room will pick up sounds from all around it, so it's not on just one side or the other. It's basically taking like a 360-degree soundscape and being able to condense that and record all the sounds coming from around you inside of a room. This is particularly helpful, say if you're on a conference call or if you're trying to capture all the audio from all audible objects in the room. And finally, the last type of polar pattern I want to talk about quickly here is called stereo. Now, stereo, you can probably guess what that means. It's basically recording 2 different audio channels at the same time, but it also is used in something called ASMR recordings, which stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Now, what does this mean exactly? So, in a nutshell, it basically means that there are sounds that are super appealing to the ear, and this is because you can record audio on 2 different tracks and mix it in a right and a left channel. So now I'm done talking about polar patterns and describing what they are a little bit. I am going to talk to you now about what 5 microphones I looked at online and compared quite extensively. Now, in no means are any of these microphones bad microphones at all. There are just some pros and cons to each one that I saw, and I wound up picking the HyperX Quadcast because it had the least amount of cons in my mind and it was the best money could buy. So starting out with the 5 microphones I did extensive research on, 3 of them include the brand Blue. Now Blue is very famously known in the podcasting and gaming world of being super high quality microphones, and don't get me wrong, they definitely are. But I chose the HyperX Quadcast for some other reasons, and I'm going to get into those in a minute. Before I do, I want to touch base on these 3 Blue brand microphones, and I also want to talk about a 4th microphone I looked at from the manufacturer Rode. So starting out, the highest priced microphone coming in at $170 is the Yeti X. The Yeti X can record all 4 polar patterns and it has USB connectivity and also features smart knob controls. Some pros to this microphone include an LED front panel and also really good software support from Yeti. Yeti is very well known for their software and making it work really well with their hardware. To cons I want to point out about the Yeti X is one, it has really noisy mechanical buttons on it, which makes it really hard when you're recording and trying to adjust levels. You're going to hear that feedback on the audio track that you've recorded. The other disadvantage to this microphone is that it uses a micro USB, which is difficult sometimes to plug in. The next microphone I want to touch base on is called the Yeti Nano. Now the Yeti Nano comes in as substantially less in cost at only a price of $100. However, the $100 price point does have its big drawbacks. The first big drawback is that it only records in two polar patterns, which is cardioid and omnidirectional. So if you're wanting to have a bidirectional conversation or record in stereo format, this microphone definitely wouldn't be for you. However, the Yeti Nano did have some positives, including that it's ultra light and ultra portable, and it has great sound quality as well. Moving on to the third microphone that I took a look at from Yeti was the Yeti USB microphone. Now this one comes in the middle between the Yeti X and the Yeti Nano at a price point of $130. This microphone can record all four directional patterns and also comes in a variety of color options for you to choose from. Other advantages of this microphone include monitoring and mute volume control buttons right on the microphone. However, it does come up short in the area of it does have a foam base underneath of it, which does pick up a lot of noise, like say if you're typing on a keyboard or clicking your mouse, you're going to pick up all of that noise from your mouse and keyboard on your desk, and also it's not that great in the sense of it will pick up other audible noises in the room. Moving on to the fourth microphone, it's the Rode NT USB microphone. This microphone retails for a price point of $99. This microphone definitely falls short in the number of polar patterns it can record. It can only record one polar pattern, which is cardioid, so it's only really good for recording if say you are recording for a game or if you're recording like a podcast. It's not good for conversation or room recording. One good thing about the Rode NT microphone is that it does have great audio and it includes a free pop filter. Now a pop filter, also called a windscreen on some microphones, is like a shield that goes across the microphone to prevent any popping. So what does popping mean in audio? It means when you're going puh, 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 or tuh, tuh, tuh. Whenever you pronounce P's or T's in audio recordings, sometimes those audio recordings can interpolate that from your voice, and that can come across on the microphone, and when that sound hits the microphone, it creates a lot of static or unnecessary noise. And that's what a windscreen or pop filter will do. It'll help you record better quality audio. A final disadvantage I want to mention on the Rode NT microphone is the fact that it comes with a really weirdly shaped tripod stand, which from a lot of reviews online I read, it has really bad stability, meaning it will tip over if you just slightly bump into it. So now I've told you about the four microphones other than the HyperX Quadcast. I want to now take a look at why I chose the HyperX Quadcast to purchase and do a review on the channel here for you guys. The HyperX Quadcast microphone comes in at $140, which is right in the middle between the $99 and the $170 price points on the other competing microphones that I told you about before. There are a lot of positives to the HyperX Quadcast microphone, including the fact that, again, it does record all four polar directions, cardioid, bidirectional, omnidirectional, and in stereo formats. It uses USB for connectivity, and it has a built-in shock mount, which definitely has to be one of the biggest compliments I have to say about this microphone. The fact that it comes in with that shock mount. So what is a shock mount? A shock mount is basically when the microphone is suspended in mid-air by kind of like what I would call bungee cords. So it helps suspend the microphone, so if you accidentally say bump the desk, or if you accidentally hit the microphone, it's gonna try to wobble the microphone itself in the holder, so that way it will minimize any taps or bumps or noises that you don't want to have recorded on your audio. Another couple things about the HyperX Quadcast microphone that I want to mention that are really good features is not only does it have super high sound quality, but it also has a touch-sensitive mute button. The touch-sensitive mute button makes it super nice, say if you're gaming or streaming or doing a podcast and you want to quickly mute your microphone and unmute your microphone, people aren't going to hear you tapping the physical microphone when you do that. The only thing that I was able to actually find on the HyperX Quadcast microphone that was a slight drawback was the fact that it has slightly less high quality sound recording capabilities than the Yeti X. However, the Yeti X does come in at an additional $30, so that's to be expected there. There were no other drawbacks that I was able to find with this microphone, and that's what made me decide to purchase it. So now I've gone through and explained what polar patterns are and why I decided to choose the HyperX Quadcast microphone to purchase. Let's get into the unboxing. Before we actually open up the box, I want to show you what the outside of the box looks like. So on the front of the box here, it just shows a nice picture of the microphone itself. Flipping around to the left-hand side of the box, it shows that it is compatible with the PC and Macs and also PS4. So that's super nice. Say if you're a gamer and wanting to game with this, you can record super high quality audio or have super high quality audio when streaming on a gaming console. The side of the box also touches base on what accessories are included inside of the box, and flipping around to the back side, you'll see an additional picture of the microphone and talking about some of the features. So I'm showing you a little bit of the outside of the box. Let's get to unboxing the actual microphone itself. We'll take the sleeve off here. Okay. Be difficult. Oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to open it that way. Trying to figure out how I open up this box. Well, they could do a little bit better job on their packaging, I would have to say. Oh my gosh, there it is. I was opening from the wrong side. Go figure. Alright, so I opened it up here. Finally, oh my goodness. So up here on the top, we have just some pamphlets, a quick getting started user guide, piece of foam protecting the microphone itself. Lift the foam out of there, and here's our microphone. So in the box is looks like a mini USB. Interesting why you would choose mini USB in this day and age to carry a audio signal. Most things are either micro USB or USB-C. Interesting choice there. And then we have a adapter here. So this adapter is so if you want to put it on like on a mic stand or a boom stand, you can do that as well instead of having it on the actual stand that you just put on the desk. And finally, we'll take the microphone out of the box. We have it again suspended in that nice shock mount system there. You'll see we have a nice windscreen, red windscreen around the actual microphone, which is actually encapsulated inside the actual main chamber here. On the top side, you'll see this touch sensitive mute button, and then flipping it around to the back, this is where your connections are and also where your polar pattern changing button is. So again, you can change it from your cardioid to omnidirectional, bidirectional, and stereo on the back. And then down here at the bottom, kind of behind the stand here, it's kind of hard to see in this picture. I'll kind of turn it around here so you can see a little better. We have a 3.5mm input jack for headphone, so you can do real-time live monitoring, for instance, when you're actually recording, so you can hear yourself at the same time you're recording yourself. And then down here is that, again, mini USB connection that it goes into your PC. And then flipping the microphone around to the front hand side, you'll notice that we have an adjusting knob here that kind of adjusts the amount of gain or input that is going into the microphone when you're recording audio. And that does it, guys, for the unboxing here of the Quadcast microphone from HyperX. Again, it retails for $139 on Amazon. I'll put a link below in the description if you want to go check that out, and a link to all the other microphones I talked about here on the channel today. We'll be doing some audio recordings with this microphone over the upcoming weeks and months ahead. So I'll probably do a follow-up review on the microphone after we do some high-quality audio recordings in the future here. If you like the unboxing video here on the channel today, guys, make sure you leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What microphone are you guys using for recording audio, for that matter? And also, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe at the top, and hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time in another Love Tech video.